Okay. Are we back? All right, I see myself. Hear myself. Great. Okay. So far, no drop frames. All right, so... All right, I killed the stream. I ended the stream, killed OBS, launched it again from scratch, and started streaming again. So hopefully stuff's okay now. I assume it was an OBS, Streamlabs OBS issue. But you never know, I guess. All right. So hopefully some people are there. I don't know if they are. All right, so all right, so we're now just returning. So if our cursor is not in play at all, we're just going to return. And this is our player cursor down method. So this is when you click. If we get a click event from the client, we're parsing that. But if we know that the cursor's not in play, which we would have just checked right here, so player cursor moved would update cursor in play based upon this position. So that way, if player cursor moved, we check that, we run this function. Then if our match state cursor in play is not right, then we just return straight up. There's no reason to parse for any bubble clicks, whatever, if our cursor is out of play. So, now we shouldn't have any issues. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, because you make the mistake and then we don't mess with anything after that. All right, let me just do, I'm just going to do a little more kind of stress test with this and just see. Okay, so we're going to go to our config. I want to set a bigger match time than 30 seconds. I just want to make sure that everything still comes out okay with this test. So kind of like a little bit of a stress test, for lack of a better word. So I'm going to just I'm just going to do some random stuff here. Just random clicks and everything. Just make sure we really aren't parsing anything anymore. Just make sure everything stays nice and in sync. As long as we keep getting bubbles from the server, we are definitely in sync. Oh boy. Yep, everything is looking good. If I click this button, we quit, but everything is looking pretty good so far. I mean, I'm 99% sure everything is okay after what we did, but can anybody, if anybody's in the chat, if you just want to let me know everything's okay stream-wise, because I see some viewers are there. I think we lost all our viewers maybe because we kept crapping out, but I see a few people there. So if somebody just wants to, Cool Boy Jedi, it's perfect for me. All right, thanks, Cool Boy Jedi. Did you notice anything, Cool Boy Jedi, about it like cutting out at all before? If you were paying attention at all, or if you had it up, because it appeared to have been dropping some frames, and or OBS kind of crashed and reset itself. But within the last like 20 minutes, I don't know, have you noticed it like dying? I'm gonna be honest, I was in class, I keep people, no worries. Yeah, it was only if you were paying it, if you were like actually had it up. Yeah, no worries. No, I appreciate you having me in the background. That's, yeah, I appreciate that. All right, so let's keep playing here. Let's keep screwing around. We're gonna play around with this other player. But now, okay, now we shouldn't be getting any funky data, which is the good thing. This is a whole like 5-minute game now. That'd be kind of interesting, playing a whole 5-minute. Be like a marathon. Whoa. That's a long time to play. But I literally just got out. Gotcha. No worries. All right, and uh-oh. We're dropping frames again. Hello? What in the world? All right, we just dropped a bunch of frames again. That should be fine. Seems fine for me. Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure we never would drop frames before, so it's just really bizarre that we started dropping some frames. Huh. Now we have 868 dropped frames. Okay. Hmm. $862. 868. That's weird. All right, I'm gonna just keep an eye on that number. Let's see if I can find a reason why that keeps happening. Nothing seems to be dropping for me. Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, everything is like good, but it's just weird that we would have any of these dropped frames on. Yeah, I'm just going to keep an eye on it here. All right. Okay, so how big is this file now? A lot of lines. Wow. Okay. All right, so let's just scroll. I'm just going to kind of scroll down here a little bit. Click 2, click 1, click 2. Okay, so we still get undefined clicks when it's a out of bounds click, and I feel like that's maybe okay. For our log here, because I don't really care too much. So I did like a bunch of out of bounds clicks, and that's why we're seeing undefined, undefined, undefined. But we can see that the target bubble ID is not updating, is not changing at all, which is the good thing. So we have a valid click to 2. We move out of bounds at some point right here. It's where we moved out of bounds, and then our target bubble is 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and then we click out of bounds. It's going to be undefined for the target bubble ID. So that's actually okay. I mean, yeah, that's kind of okay. I mean, I just need to be aware of it because, again, this isn't really going to be used for anything other than just for my own analysis of things. And as long as I'm aware that that's the case, I think we are okay. And really, it's just kind of a quirk in the way I'm logging this data, so it kind of really doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter as long as I don't know what I was trying to say. Yeah, so I guess we can just put a little to do if cursor is out of play. If cursor is out of play, out of bounds, cursor is out of bounds, target bubble ID will be undefined. I mean, I guess we could maybe set target bubble ID here. Yeah, in fact, I don't know why we don't. Oh, I guess because, well, wait a minute. Where do we set? Let's see, this dot logs. At some point, we go into this dot logs. Yeah, right here. And then we set target bubble ID. So I guess like we could set target bubble ID to like, we could set it to whatever the target bubble ID is at that time, and then we could like update it here. It would be updated here if needed, I guess. And then same thing if you made a mistake. If you, wrong bubble popped, player made mistake. Player in, okay, so in player made mistake, then we're going back. Oh no, that's not the right one. Player made mistake. We're going back and setting the target bubble ID. Yeah, okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to set target bubble ID to whatever the current target bubble ID is. So we're going to do player. We're basically going to do this here. And we're going to say target bubble ID set this initially prevents logging undefined for out of bounds clicks. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this then. All right, so here we won't, okay, set this initially. Otherwise, this will be overridden if bubble is popped or mistake is made. Whoops. Okay. All right, that should be relatively clear for future Jared to understand what he was trying to do. All right, did we drop any more frames? No, we're still at dropped 868. Okay, so that's good. How long have we been streaming now? 6 hours almost? Or 4 hours? 4 hours, right? We got started a little before 10. Yeah, why am I thinking 6? All right. So, okay, so I think we're good here. Man, that took us a long time to track all of this down. But I think we made some good changes to things. And the changes we did make, so we made it so that we just don't even parse bubble pops if the cursor was clicked out of bounds. So that's already a good thing. But we also solved the problem by also just setting bubble traverse to false. And I guess player.match set that I traversed. Test out of bounds clicks with all right, I'm trying, let's see here, to do test out of bounds clicks. Okay. All right. So, whoops. Oh boy. Didn't we get rid of... to do? Wait a minute. Oh. Sweet. Okay. Okay, still at 868 drop frames only. All right. Okay. All right. Now, okay, so that was crazy. I'm glad we found that issue. Probably not an issue that would ever really rear its head, but an issue nonetheless. So we need to go back to whatever it was we were doing, which was we were going to look at rate limiting. So we were going to, I wanted to kind of, I wanted to kind of check I wanted to check if a client would be sending more than a certain amount of mouse updates, basically. So if somebody would be sending more data faster than a rate of 60 times per second. So if we're sending on an average more than 60 something updates per second, then we want to what am I trying to say here? Basically, we want to have some sort of rate limiting. So if somebody's kind of screwing around with the browser and is sending more than 60 mouse updates a second, then we want to say nope. That's not allowed. So let's do let's see about collecting that data on the server, and let's see how we can kind of analyze that and then act upon it. So I would like to probably, I guess maybe the thing we should do is maybe look at like the average time. Well, okay, so first things first, actually, on the client side, I would like to, for one thing on the client side, I would like to not send a mouse movement if we're going to send a cursor down, because what ends up happening, this is We ended up going on this whole long diversion here. But basically, the thing is, when we send a movement, is the delta, okay, timestamp and then delta. Okay. So here's the timestamp for each mouse event that comes through. So these would just be always incrementing. Now, here's the thing. You can see here is the delta between this event and the last one. And it should always be around 16 milliseconds. It might be 15, you know, ish or whatever. Or it might be a lot bigger if we don't move the mouse for a while, then the browser doesn't send any data to the server. But if we shouldn't have anything really much less than this, 15 milliseconds-ish, 16, whatever. So here we've got one that's 0.019. And what's happening here is because we're sending a mouse movement, and then we're sending the click from that mouse movement. So if you like move the mouse and then click right away, it's going to send that last movement and the click event, and they could be really close to one another. So basically the browser will send those off like in the same frame. So that's why we're getting just this very tiny difference. But if you'll notice the positions of the cursor, which is what those next things should be, pose X, pose Y, these are identical between the movement and the click. In fact, it looks like the last two movements. Oh, no, wait a minute. Actually, this is interesting. Okay. Move X, move Y. Distance, mistake. Okay. So then that's what these 3 zeros are. That's the movement X that we've done, the movement Y that we've done, and then the distance. So the hypotenuse between the X and the Y movements, basically. So those should all be zeros because the click shouldn't have moved past the mouse move, if that makes sense. Now, as to why this mouse move is also zeros, that's a little funky. And that's making me think, does that happen every time? Oh, yeah, that happens every time. Okay, so we must be sending like another mouse movement when we send the mouse click. Must be what's going on. Oh, no, wait a minute. The click is registering as a... Yeah, okay, so here's what's happening. Our logging process is adding this extra movement in, because when we do a click, it's adding in okay. When we do a click, it's logging this move first. Maybe there's a way we could not do that. Let me think about that real quick here. All right, so yeah, because we do, okay, so for the cursor down, we're doing a move. We're parsing a move. So if we do a player cursor moved, we say player position, and then player cursor moved is down here. Yeah, so then we're setting up, we're basically logging a movement. Okay, so that actually is fine. But hang on, let's go back here real quick. Okay, so that's why these should be zeros. Well, now wait a minute here. Okay. So nonetheless, so this is kind of a synthetic mouse move. I say synthetic, but it's just a fake mouse move. So this is the mouse move that we trigger by the click. But this is the move. So this is the actual move from the client. And okay, so we still have we had the move. So this was the last move from the client where we moved to that mouse position. And here's our fake movement event that we're inserting for the click and then the click. Okay, so that is okay. In theory, we could do... All right, so in theory, I'm going to try to minimize that as much as I can. Because there we had 2 frames in between. So I'm going to try to do a movement and a click like as quickly in one thing as I can. See if we can get them to happen within 1 frame. Okay, I gotta wait 30 seconds. Let's just change this back to 5 seconds. Here we go. All right, so I just want to do... Okay, sweet. So now we pull up our CSV. Just make sure this refreshes. There we go. Okay. So now we want to see like... All right, so we do have 1 frame. We do have 1 frame of delay here. Oh, no, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay. All right, this is maybe a little more realistic. Because from this movement is the fake one. And we have a 0.384 millisecond difference between this one and the last one. So that would be because the client sent a real mouse event and then the click at the same time. Or sent one a hair before the other, basically. And we should kind of see that same, yeah, okay, so some really low numbers there. Yep, 2 really low deltas. Okay. All right. So what I think we want to do now is possibly on the client, I think maybe we want to not send... We want to not send the movement and then the click at the same time. So, So what I mean by that is we want to look at our outgoing. Okay, so here is our client side outgoing input timer thing here. So basically if there's if we haven't sent the latest cursor move, then we send it. Latest cursor move, okay, which is a position. Okay, so the position and then a Boolean sent, true, false, latest cursor move. So anytime we set a cursor, anytime we do a cursor move or a cursor down, we set sent to false. Okay. So that's the way we're kind of keeping track of whether or not we need to be sending mouse movements or cursor clicks. All right, so the one thing we want to do is, if we're going to send a cursor down, we want to not send. So if the latest cursor down thing is not sent, then we need to send that. And then I guess are we doing anything else with that? No. Not sent. Okay, then we send it. Then it's not. Okay. All right, so we basically, if we send a message, the cursor down, the cursor click, so I think we want to do something kind of like this, where I'm going to comment this out, but we will do else if and then we're going to set this, we're going to set this also to true. We're going to say if cursor down is being sent, don't send we'll say if latest cursor down is being sent, don't send latest cursor move. Cursor down replaces the move in this case. Cursor down is a cursor move. Is calculated as a cursor move on the server. We'll just say that. That way I can remember what we're doing. So we flag cursor move as being sent as well. Okay. All right. I think that's what we want. So let's fire up a game again. Just make sure everything's okay. All right. So let's check the CSV file. Whoa. See what we got here. So now we should just not have those really short. Well, okay, we still have our fake movement thing here, but we shouldn't have the 3 in a row at least now. Yeah. So we have our fake movement, which is correct, but our click is okay. All right. So then we're still going to have this really short delta between this click and the move. But that's, and we're going to have the 0, 0, 0 again. But really, wait a minute. Why? Oh, yeah. Okay. Wait, what did we just fix then? What did we just fix? What? Hang on. Three, two, one. All right, so we did a bunch of clicks really fast. 0, 16. Okay. Yeah, okay, that's correct. Wait, maybe, hang on. All right, now I'm I feel like I might have been looking at the old CSV file maybe just before. Cuz now let's like actually play the game. Okay. Let's open up this CSV. Now wait a minute. Oh, okay, maybe this is what's happening. Like maybe between the click, just by the way I'm moving the mouse, maybe it's like slow enough. Like by the time I slow down to do, like in my last mouse movement, and then I do the click. I wonder if that's what's happening there. But at least we shouldn't be receiving, at least now, we shouldn't be receiving any. Okay. All right. Yeah, because at least now, like, so we should see a really small delta here, but we should still be seeing pretty big deltas otherwise, like no less than 16 milliseconds. So same thing. Yep, that's good here. Where's our next click? That's good here. That's good here. Good here. Good here. Good here. All right, so let's do a really fast game. Whoa. We're just going wild back and forth. All right, so I just wanted to do a bunch of those. All right, so our CSV file updated there. I saw it. All right, so same thing. We shouldn't see any big deltas up here. This one should be, or any smaller deltas. This one obviously is going to be really small because this movement is really technically the delta of this one. This is just kind of like a synthetic movement. Whoops, I didn't want to do that. All right, so yeah, we should see for every click, these upper events, we should see small, or no smaller than 15 something milliseconds. Good. All right. Cool. All right, so now let's just to make sure I'm not crazy, let's go back to the way it was before. I guess we'll do this and then this. And then this, and then uncomment this. Yeah, this should put us back to the place we were before. Let's refresh these. And I'm going to do just the same, like, wild clicking and moving the mouse really fast. Just like this to kind of... That's just to kind of ensure that we probably are sending a movement and a click in the same frame. So that way we should have a really tiny delta for some of those. So if we open our CSV, okay, let's go up to the top. We should now have, for our first click, okay, yeah, here we go. So we have 2 small deltas right in a row, 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 2 small, yes, okay. So this, our new method is working. So instead of sending, the client would send the latest movement and a click simultaneously, but we really only need to send a click. We don't need to send that movement as well, because the server is going to treat the click as a movement as well. Also, it's going to parse it like it's a movement, because technically a mouse click doesn't move the mouse, right? The mouse click can only happen from whatever cursor position the mouse is already at. So a mouse click is not a movement as far as like a browser is concerned. If you do a click, no movement happened, right? That's just a click event, and the cursor was at a position when you did the click event. You're always going to have a browser movement event right before that click event to that position. You know, so you'd always have one mouse movement event that would put you in that position that your click happened from, if that makes sense. But in our case, we're kind of ignoring that. We're treating the click as far as the communication to the server goes. So the click event is going to kind of override that last movement event, the most movement event. So that movement that moved us to that position that we did our click from is going to kind of be thrown out. So we're going to treat that click as also a movement as well, always. Sometimes it might not be a movement because, which is fine. Like if I were to do, you know, let's simulate that by going here, and we are going to move and then click. I don't think hopefully I didn't move the mouse at all. It's possible I moved it a pixel or two. And then our CSV file updated already. So we got to move, and then a click. And we can see, yes, we can see in fact that there, we really didn't move. Oh, yes, actually that was the other thing to look at. So yeah, we didn't move at all from that mouse click, but I do want to test. Wait a minute. No, we need to go back to the new way. First, we need to go back. Okay, so yeah, this gets commented out. This gets commented. Well, this gets commented in. This is a comment. And this part goes back here. And there we go. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to do the same thing, but this time okay. This time we will see, well, no. Yeah, this time it'll be like the same thing, right? I didn't want to do that. Move, click. Okay. Yeah. All right, so that's good. But then what we wanted to also test was we should be seeing some. If we do just a quick thing again here. Okay, whoops. All right, so all of these clicks, at least the movement, our fake synthetic movement event that's happening right before that should have some deltas, or should have some movement deltas, which we are seeing. Okay. That is good. All right. Yeah. Okay. So I think we are okay. So now the one thing would be, we're going to have to like save the last like seconds worth of mouse deltas maybe on the client to kind of like, yeah, I have my tech deck. That's where I keep Helps me think, you know. I kind of pull it. So if you hear me like doing, you know, clicking off to the side, that's because I got my tech deck. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so all right, what are we doing again? Well, for each player, we need to do like, well, I guess it's a match state thing. We have, okay, yeah, we've got latest input time. So actually, let's, Weemy. What's going on, Weemy? Good to see you. Is it good to see me, though? Nice. What's going on, Weemy? Man, how I haven't seen you stream in a while. I've just not caught your stream. Well, it's been a crazy last couple weeks, but with Christmas and New Year's. Happy New Year, by the way. Happy New Year. Yeah, Happy New Year. It's 2021 now. Whew. What a ride. Well, started streaming again 31st. Nice. Nice. Yeah, were you not streaming for a little bit? So I haven't been on much. Gotcha. Yes, indeed, studies. Yeah, that's right. That's right. You've been kind of doing, you were studying and not. Yep, then the holiday. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, my stream schedule really didn't get interrupted with the holiday because I've just been doing Mondays and Tuesdays. So, you know, with Christmas on a Friday, that means New Year's is on a Friday. So like, my stream schedule wise, nothing was really interrupted, which is kind of nice. Yeah, I'm trying to implement a little bit of like a rate limiting thing. It's for people like you when you try to cheat with the multiplayer Populus. By the way, it's my birthday. Is my birthday present ready? If you remember, that's right. Wow, your birthday is in January, right? SS Jocka Brent Caskill. Hello. SS Jocka Brent Caskill. What's going on? Thanks for hanging out. Your birthday was yesterday, Weemy. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Weemy. The 3rd? Ah, now I kind of remember you saying that. Well, sorry, Weemy. It's happy belated birthday and late. We're going to be late on your gift of Populus multiplayer. You said yes, most likely. Did I? Did I say that? Really? No way, really? Because I didn't think we'd be live by now. I think we got... I'll find the VOD if I have to. Nice. SS Jaka Brent Caskell is JavaScript object-oriented. I'm noob trying to learn. Hey, no worries. Yeah, I'm always happy to answer any questions about stuff I know. And Weemy's also a good guy to ask, too. He's hanging out in the chat. Is JavaScript object-oriented? Yes, but, well, object-oriented is kind of like... it's not necessarily... Well, I would say there's... Weemy SS, or Weemy Pure.js is not object-oriented, not class-based. Yeah, I mean, and you don't... Well, I guess... It has certain object-oriented features, or that you would use kind of in an object-oriented way. But in reality, so it's complicated. Well, and I guess in reality, like, like you don't have to do object-oriented programming. Like that's more of like a style that you can choose just not to employ with JavaScript. But it's still possible to use it as OOP, as OOP. Yeah. Yeah, so it's like you can use kind of, you can, and again, that's more of like a, object-oriented is kind of a mentality too, or kind of a philosophy too, that you would use with programming, right? Just like C++ can be object-oriented if you want to, or if you don't want to. You know, you don't have to use, you know, object-oriented patterns and that sort of thing. Because I also think like too, you can use classes. You can use classes, but not be an object-oriented programmer. You know, like you could kind of go a more data-oriented route, but you might be using classes to kind of as your data structure kind of thing, not to make things more complicated. But yeah, I like to think object-oriented is more of like a philosophy, more so than like just saying a language itself is like object-oriented or not. Like maybe Java, and I don't, this is me not knowing so much about Java, but maybe like with Java, you're kind of forced to kind of go in like an object-oriented way, because like every file always has to be a class or something like that. So maybe some languages might force you into more object-oriented behavior than others, but yeah. Java is very class OOP heavy. Yeah, right. Right, like I'm pretty sure like every file is important. Like a file itself is important. Whereas like a language, well, JavaScript too, like a file doesn't matter. Your file, you can put whatever you want in it, a function, a variable, something, a class, an object, something else, you know. But yeah, hopefully some of that helps you, SS Jaka Brent Caskell. I like saying that full name. But in theory, you could slap everything in one Java file. Yeah, there you go, Weemy. Right. All right, we haven't dropped any more frames. Okay, that's good. So I don't know what was going on, because we still dropped a couple more frames after, well, a couple hundred more frames after we restarted OBS. So I don't know what the deal was there. All right. Well, SS Jocka Brent Caskell, I'll assume you're new around here. You haven't been lurking for a while, so I'll give you a little demo of my game here if you're still hanging out. So I'm working on this game. It's called Populus. You can actually play it. You can play it right now if you want. I threw the link down there in the chat, populus.gg. That's populus.gg. I like spelling it out because it sounds kind of funny. Populus. Populus. No cheating allowed unless you're Weemy. Yeah, so it's if you go to Populus, I'm here right now, populus.gg on the live site. You can click play. And basically trying to pop these bubbles in 30 seconds, trying to pop as many as you can in the order that they appear here. So you start with, you're always popping whatever bubble is the big one here in this, the color that matches, that is. So the red one's first. So to pop the bubble, you move your mouse over it and you press the space bar or left mouse click, and you just keep going. You just keep. See how many you can do? I'm the second fastest Populus player in the world right now. So don't feel bad if you're not popping as fast as I am right out of the gate. It's okay. But then, yeah, after the 30 seconds is done, you see some stats at the end, how many bubbles you popped, and, you know, the pop rate, and how many mistakes you made. So, Weemy is first, yeah. Weemy's first if you're counting cheaters. But, yeah, actually, Weemy, what we're working on right now is rate limiting. I believe Truyaksky is first. Yes, Truyaksky is first. In fact, I'll throw our Discord server down there as well in the chat if anyone's interested in joining. Yeah, and in fact, it's pretty cool. If you do join the Discord, there's a section there for there's a Populus section, and then there's, sorry, bumping the mic. And then there's a high scores channel under the Populus section, and you can see Truyaksky's 124 pops and one mistake, I think, in 30 seconds. 124 pops. That's 4 bubbles a second. Over 4 bubbles a second. That's crazy. So that's fun to watch. So my video's on there. If you scroll up a little more in that section, and then I have 109 pops. So I set that, and I was the #1 player. I think it's possible Truyaksky already had beaten that at the time, but I was like #1 for like 5 hours before Truyaksky posted the 124. So, yeah. Yep. But I'm still #2. I'm still #2. Weemy's #1, counting cheaters. All right. Okay, so what I want to do now. Oh, so, well, and we're working on multiplayer right now. I'll give you that as kind of the, you know, SS Jocka Brent Caskell. If you're new around here, we're working on multiplayer right now. And basically, do I need to refresh now? Or did I already do that? So basically you kind of go 1-to-1. Or one-on-one racing another player, and I have the timer set really quickly here. But basically, each player gets the same bubbles, but they get to pop them like at their own pace, right? So it's fair in the sense that you're popping the same bubbles, but you get to pop them all on your own at your own pace. I just basically said the exact same thing. So there's that. Weemy, I'll be number 1 when there's colorblind mode. Yes. Yeah, that's a good, you know what? I probably should start, once we go live with the multiplayer, I probably should start. That should be one of the first things I look at too, is maybe just seeing if there's something easy I could implement to help colorblindedness. But we'll see. All right. But for now, we're working on kind of a rate limiting kind of thing, because right now we're sending 60 mouse updates to the server a second. Each player would send 60. So I want to make sure that if somebody's sending more data than that, we're gonna kill their connection. Because we've already done a couple things where if there's some funky data that comes from a client, we just kill them. Whoosh. Get them out of there. Oh, you making anti-cheat stuff now? Well, not quite anti-cheat, but just kind of validation. Just kind of data client validation right now. Just kind of like the big obvious things. You know, we're not looking at like analyzing if like, oh, did they pop this and then pop, oh, this doesn't seem like a human playing. You know, like not quite that kind of stuff, but just some high level stuff. Like, for example, if the client sends an invalid command to the server just whoosh, gets them out, just resets the WebSocket, or not resets, terminates the WebSocket connection. So there's still a way. Well, yeah, yes, technically, yeah. I mean, a bot, you could write a bot. But what I'm trying to do is just take out some kind of the low-hanging fruit, like just some of the easy things we can check to say, yeah, that's not right. Just kill the WebSocket. Because if somebody's just playing the game normally, and as long as we don't have any funky bugs in there, everything should be fine, and then, you know, the server's never going to terminate a nice, valid player. The WebSocket connection for a good player, that is. But the other thing is I want to look at rate limiting, and that one's a little trickier. So, like, I want to make sure we're not sending too many things to the server. So that'll kind of entail, like click frequency and time difference. Yeah. So, Weemy, for example, here's my spreadsheet. I think you saw some of this, or not spreadsheet, but the CSV file. I think you were around when I was working on this a while ago, a couple weeks ago. And nope, never seen. Oh, okay. So anyway, I was basically logging. This is the server generates this, and this is just for like my own data analysis. This isn't something that is going to be used on the live site or anything. This is just kind of for my own purposes, but and will eventually probably be used for more of like an anti-cheat kind of thing. But basically what I'm doing is we can see in this column here, and I know the columns aren't really lined up properly, but basically this is a mouse movement from, or wait a minute, let's do this a little more properly here. All right, I'm gonna go here, and we're gonna go okay. All right, there we go. All right. So basically every mouse movement from the client is getting logged in this file. And then we can see in this column here, these are the deltas in milliseconds, the time from this mouse movement to the last one. So it's basically, this column here is actually the timestamps that the match has been running. So like we can see here, this one came at 438 milliseconds, point blah, 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 blah. And the last one came at 421. So basically the 16 we're seeing here is this 438 minus the 421, and that gives us the 16 milliseconds. So we're sending 60 mouse updates a second, so that should be about 16.6666667 milliseconds. So it's obviously sometimes we see some 15s just because of, you know, the little bit of latency and everything between the server, the clients, whatever. And who knows, when we go production, this could become, which of this comes from the client? Well, all of this comes from the client. This is each mouse movement, right? So this is the mouse movement, at what time the mouse moved, at what time the server, I should say, had received the mouse movement. And then this column here is those deltas. So this was just the one player that I played with just a second ago. So basically, we shouldn't really be getting any times between mouse events being much less than 15. You know, that 15 milliseconds, I think, is just a little bit of wiggle room that's just happening with the network and everything. And when we go, well, and I don't know what we're going to see once we go to production with this. So I actually will probably be doing a little bit of testing with that once we move it up to the cloud. But basically, we shouldn't see anything like less than this. And there are some things that'll show, whenever we have a click, technically that's going to show a 0 right here in our log, but that's just in our log. Or show a really low delta time between events, but there's a reason for that and whatever. But basically, all of these, we shouldn't really see too many times below 16.7 milliseconds. Average, hopefully. We'll see. Well, what I want to do now is actually work on like collecting this data and then like doing an average. Because that's the only way I can really see like doing some sort of rate limiting thing is like just say, okay, well, we can just kill. Yeah. I mean, I feel like that makes the most sense. We kind of just do an average. We gather like an average of, and it won't necessarily catch every single little thing. But we could probably say like, oh, if we've got like an average of 10 milliseconds, that's bad. So let's stop. Let's kill that connection. That kind of thing. So I'm actually going to take a quick bathroom break. So we'll be right back. We'll be right back. Whoa. Wait, I'll read Weemy's last message here. To be honest, jokes aside, I'd be a perfect tester since you'll host in the US, right? I'm in Europe. This should help you with ping delay. Yes, for sure. For sure, Weemy. No, and yeah, and I mean, if you're willing to screw around with it and have some fun, because I know you enjoy it. Yeah, I know. I mean, yeah, for sure. I'd like to have you, screw around with stuff. See what you can break and everything. I'd never promote it. Yeah. No, I appreciate that. I mean, you'll be called a cheater, but I'm just you'll forever have the label of cheater, I guess. But you already kind of have that, so that's kind of it. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I appreciate that for sure, Weemy. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna take a quick bathroom break. Cheater, extreme tester, nice. So we're throwing the Durana BRB down in the chat. There we go. All right. We'll be right back in a moment here. All right, we are back. Grabbed a couple more mints. Time. 5 minutes, 12 seconds. Woo! Yikes. All right. Was it really that long? All right. I don't know. I just used the minutes from the chat timestamps and throw in some random seconds. Nice. Very nice. Okay, so let's see if we can start collecting like some average mouse movement data. I'm trying to think of the best way to do this. Like, I'd rather not like actually compare like two events side by side. Like I'd rather not like just look at one of these deltas and then say like, oh, if this one delta is less than a certain amount of time, then kick the player. Because there could be all sorts of reasons why, you know, like if one mouse movement takes longer than the other, but then the one that's after that is like normal time, like then that delta might be really short for whatever reason. So that's a possibility. So that could give you, that's why I'm thinking more of like an averaging thing. You use sockets, right? Yes. Yes, Weemy. Yep, we are using WebSockets. So you have access to ping at all time? No, I'd have to do a ping myself. Actually, wait a minute. Well, I already did. I actually did do a ping myself. Where is that? Here it is. Yeah, I did do a ping right here. However, I don't know if ping maybe... I don't know if I really care about ping in this case. And I only, well, wait a minute. Now I'm trying to think like, Yeah, how do we want to collect? How do we want to collect this data? Because we should probably do it at the top. So we should probably go up to the, okay, so our on message thing, we should probably do like a thing here where we say player dot, yeah, we should probably have like a thing that's like player dot set last time stamp or something. Set last time stamp. That's kind of stupid, but I'm just kind of typing out loud here. So like we would maybe like we could do do we want to do, I guess we want to do like a high precision timestamp. Yeah. So which we have, right? We've got, not there. Got it here. Okay. Okay. So we want to do like, let's, for each player object, we could have like, we could have an array of like this dot input deltas, client message deltas, and then maybe we do like a set interval for like, whoops, every second we like check this dot client message deltas dot, or we do while this dot client message deltas dot length is greater than 0. We do like let delta total delta equals 0, and then total delta plus equals this this dot client message deltas dot pop. So, or how do we know the delta though? Maybe actually, maybe this is what we should do. Not deltas. We do client message times client message received reception time. Client message received times client message, or maybe we just say player dot message received Whoa. Message received times. Or maybe we just say on message times. Maybe that. Maybe we say on message times. On, how about this? On WS message times. So when we receive a WebSockets message, we have the timestamps in this array. Okay, so we're going to do that. So then what we'll do is we will do, for every event, I guess, we'll do for the, okay, so application player dot set last time. Okay, so we do player dot on WS on message timestamps dot push. We push a performance dot now. So we push in the timestamp of that last thing. Okay. Okay. Player dot on WS message times dot push performance dot now. Okay. Okay, so how are we going to do this? I guess we would just do if. Well, we don't need to pop. I guess if this dot on so if we and then at the end of this, we still want to reset this dot on message times equals an array. Okay, blank array. So we just kill all those. So basically, we're keeping a list of the timestamps, and we're gonna be looping every second to check the times between each of those messages. And we're gonna be looping. We're gonna be doing this every second for each client. For each player that's connected. So I guess what we'll do is, well, actually I guess we'll do a loop. We'll do this dot, or we'll do for let I equals 0, I is less than this dot on message on WS messages message times dot length I plus plus, and we are going to do we're going to do this. We're going to do total. We're going to do let total delta equal. Let total delta equal 0. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do const delta equals this dot on message times I plus 1 minus this dot on WS messages I, if, and then if that delta is something, we are going to increment it by that delta that we just calculated. So basically, if the array is 0, then we'll just skip this. If the array is already 0, we'll skip this. If the array is 1, we would calculate I plus 1 minus that, which would return is not a number, so delta would be nothing, and then we would therefore skip and then just be done. And if basically we get a loop for every message, calculate all those deltas, and then yeah, that should handle it. Okay. So then what? We've got the total delta now. So I guess we could just do an if. We could just do an if total delta we need to then, if we have a total delta, so if it wasn't still 0, then we would need to check okay, total delta. What do we do? Oh, if all those now wait a minute, this isn't what we want to do. This isn't what we want to do. We want to calculate the average delta. Oh yeah, I guess okay, so we would calculate the total delta. Then we divide that by the number of messages. Yes, okay. So if we have a total delta, well, I guess we could just we don't need to check if. We could just const average delta equals it's a nasty crack there. All right, so we have an average delta that will be total delta divided by this dot on WS message times dot length. Yeah, that's what we want. And then we're checking if this average delta, if it's less than something, then we have a problem. So let's just console log the average delta. Let's check it out. Okay. Okay, so we're getting a bunch of nans. 0 divided by, oh, I guess because we're doing 0 divided by 0. Which is fine. Okay, so for a second there it showed 0. And then let's play. All right, so then, oh, check it out. It's working. Yes, it's working. Okay. So obviously we're printing both players. Let's change. Let's go back to a normal time here instead of 5 seconds. Let's make this change this back to 30. Okay. All right, so we're printing two not a numbers because we're printing it for both players. So like whenever the player does one event, then we get a 0. All right, so now we should see a bunch of stuff. So I'm just gonna play a bunch as one player, and then I'm gonna like wait a little bit here, and we go up to 2. Our console's just blowing up. There's a million things happening. Whoa, 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 whoa. Sweet. Okay. So now let's look at the console. So again, we're back to printing a bunch of not a numbers, because I think we're dividing 0 by 0 would be the case. Anytime you divide by 0, I think you get not a number. All right. And obviously there's a bunch of other junk here. Like every time we pop a bubble, we get that. But at least, and we're always going to have a not a number for the other player because the other player's not playing, because we're dividing 0 by 0. But this player here should always be, we should be seeing something. So we got like 17 milliseconds, 18 milliseconds, 18 milliseconds. So that's good. That's good. We're looking pretty good. 16, 17, 17, 17, 16, 18, 16. Okay, so we really can't. We've got some lower ones here. We've like 16.259. So we need to have like a lower threshold. We need to say like an average of I don't know. I don't know what that number should be. I really don't know. (20, 16, 16, 16). There should be a point in time where I stopped. 16, 16. Should be a point in time where I stopped, and we should get a few not a numbers right in a row. 16, 15, 17, not a number. There we go. There we go. Okay, so we should have like 18, 16, and then I like stopped moving after that. So we got a bunch of not a numbers right in a row, and then we got 16. All right, so I'm seeing times as low as 16.0 something milliseconds. So we really need, and like, you know, so let's just say we changed this to, let's go to our config file and change the client time to like 80. Whoop. So 1/80 is 12.5 milliseconds deltas ish. So let's just try that and see what happens. So now our clients are sending oops. Wait, what happened there at the end? Oh. Wait, never mind. Okay. There we go. All right, so yeah, now we're seeing times around 12, 12, 13, 12, 13, 13, 13, 13, 12, 12, well, 12.9. And what did we say? What should it be? It was 12.5-ish. 1/80. 14, 13, 13, 14, 13, 13. So most of the time it's above. 13, 13, 12, 12. That one's really close to 12. There was one that's 11, 13. Yeah, so it's really got to be like 14, 33. Yeah. So that was switching to 80 mouse updates a second. So again, well, that was just to prove that the numbers we were calculating on the client side were good. So we really need to have like a yeah. All right. So I was just thinking there for a second. All right. So this seems to be working pretty well, this method for calculating average delta times. The thing is now is we need to have some sort of threshold. I don't know how we want to, I don't know what the number should be. Like we want to give ourselves like a buffer, that's like good enough to say, okay, so if, like on LAN, I'm seeing times, around 16.7 milliseconds. If I turn off logging, does that, hang on. Let me see if I can just make this more clear. Whoops. Match. Kind of annoying. Well, maybe I can just comment these out. Let's just comment out. These are the big logs that get generated every time. Oh, wait a minute. No, not these ones. We can leave those ones in. This one popped. What? Oh. Okay, comment those out for right now. And then we'll go back to our player. Okay, so we'll do a if average delta, then we'll console log. All right. Ooh, whoop, whoop, whoop. Ah, okay, there we go. Oh boy. All right, let's refresh. Weemy, are you always sending from the client? Basically, I'm doing, if I understand exactly what you're asking, I'm only doing a on-demand, no matter their state. No, I am basically, I'm not sending more than 60 things per second. But if you, like, so for example, when you move the mouse, it will send no more than 60 mouse updates a second. But then if you stop moving, it's only going to send them if you change. So it's not just on a fixed update, passing the state up to the server. So no, we're not always sending data from the client. So actually, now we can see this and it looks much better. So if I do Robat Bobat is now following. Robat Bobat, thank you very much for the follow. I really appreciate it. I really do. So what's the reason for sending the mouse move? Well, Weenie, that's a good question. Basically, the game is then kind of running on the server side, and it will help me. So the server is kind of keeping track of the state and everything kind of simultaneously with both players. And that way it can really validate, and again, we're not really quite to this point, but that way it can validate that the data you're sending it kind of makes sense. So kind of more for an anti-cheat thing. Because like if you could just say, I popped a bubble, and like if that was kind of the minimum data needed, like the clients just said, I popped a bubble, I popped a bubble, I popped a bubble, then you could just, you know, everybody could just say they popped a bubble. Like, you know, and as quickly as they wanted to. Just a bunch of bubble pops. Or like at a rate that was like way quicker than the other things. Than the other. So really it's just for validation and everything. And there's not really going to be a way to completely automate like bot or cheating kinds of things, but it at least will make it more difficult. Yeah, but then you can just compare on the server the delta time between every I popped a bubble. Yeah, I mean we could have done something like that. Yeah, I don't know. I ended up with just doing this because I thought it probably, and who knows, we might end up, if bandwidth and everything become too much of a problem, maybe we will end up going to something like that. But yeah. So all right, so now if we go opponent found, all right, now I'm moving. Yes, now we're getting, sweet. So now it stops logging when we stop moving the mouse. But yeah, here we can really see. So there we had a 14 millisecond time. Another 14, 13 there. Yeah, for whatever reason, that's hugging really tight against 15.7. It's kind of interesting why that's that close to 15.7. So maybe we need something like 10. Or maybe we just need a number that's like a lot higher or a lot lower, you know, a lot smaller. The delta, if the delta is a lot, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like maybe we don't want something too close to the actual number. Like we want something that's maybe further away. Let's see. Multiplayer stuff is tricky. Yes. Especially real time. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yes. I am I am well, I mean, we're in a good spot. I think we mostly have this figured out. It's just a matter of like trying to think of what we, what's By the way, just bouncing ideas and questions with you. I have no idea what's good optimal. Hey, no worries. No, I appreciate your ideas, Weemy, for sure. I do. Yeah, I wish I knew what was good and optimal too. And if you can't answer them properly, it probably means you're not sure either. Yep. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So maybe I'm going to manage this, I guess, as a separate number. I guess we want to say if average delta is actually, we need to make this a thing. Two uncertain, confused programs that are trying to do real-time socket multiplayer browser games. That's the idea, Weemy, I think. We're just trying to figure it out and have fun, I guess. Trying to make something work and have fun. Okay, so we need to clear the interval in this case. Akago. Hello. What's going on, Akago? Thanks for hanging out. Can't be worse than Shart, right? Can only go up from here. Yes. For sure, Weemy, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, and if everything with Populus is terrible, then, we go back and we figure out what's wrong. We go back and fix it and see what happens. But yeah, that's going to be the real thing. Like, I wish I had basically a cloud development server going, but currently playing the backwards compatibility game of the mod manager I wrote. LOL. Windows 7 doesn't like it. Oh. All right. I just noticed you censor all the bad words. Yes, Weemy. Akago. That sounds pretty interesting. What a mod manager? What is it? What is it for? What is it for? I'll give you a little demo of what I'm working on. Akago. Yeah, I'm working on my own little game here. It's called Populus. Basically, it's for Stardew Valley. Smappy, a mod loader. Oh, sweet. It's pretty cool. How come I'm not judging? I should follow your prime example and censor bad words myself. No worries. I just try to keep it, I don't have the, I don't have any mature audience thing or whatever set on Twitch. I don't know. I just try to keep it clean, That's kind of my thought for everything with the stream. 'Cause who knows who's watching, I guess. Yeah, in fact, I kind of wanted to even kind of just clean up the chat. I mean, I was even thinking of having like, bots or whatever do. So if I understand, sockets are giving you some grief. Not too bad. I'm actually not sockets themselves, just kind of trying to figure out what I want to do here with, what I want to do to kind of have like a rate limiting thing kind of going to make sure that if somebody's kind of going behind the scenes and trying to send too much data to the server, I want to kick them, that kind of thing. I'm forced to have mature audience on because I can't control myself. Nice, Weemy. But Akago, I really like Stardew Valley. That's a pretty cool game. And I saw they just had that new update with the island and stuff. It's pretty cool. I didn't really know about any mods or anything though. That's new to me. I'm honestly not even that big of a Stardew Valley player. My wife and I played a little bit. So I tried to find a game that like my wife and I could kind of play co-op together, and Stardew Valley seemed like one that she would be interested in at the time. So she doesn't really play too many video games, but I wanted us to kind of have a co-op game that we could play together. So I found Stardew Valley, a couple years ago, and we played a little bit, and it was a lot of fun. But we only played, I don't know, maybe 12, 14 hours. So that's really about as much as I've gotten in Stardew Valley. You can't kick me. I'm invisible. Rate limiting. It's typically best to limit both accounts and IPs, if I remember my time web deving and API right. Yeah. Well, for what I'm doing right now is not going to be too complicated. I mean, we might do something IP based at some point. But right now what I'm doing, since I am using WebSockets and I can just kind of kill the connection, that's kind of the nice thing. Because like if it was HTTP, yeah, I'd probably have to like, actually just kill that IP. But with WebSockets, you've got the ability to just terminate the connection. And what I'm going to do is that, and then basically if you hit that, you'd have to refresh the browser to kind of reconnect. So it's really just kind of it's kind of a halfway solution for right now. But yeah. I was going to give you a quick demo, Akago, here, since I believe you're new. Oh yeah, see, that makes sense. I suppose it depends on how you want to limit it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like I'm sending mouse data to the server, so it's sending like 60 updates a second. So that's already a lot, right? That's already a lot of data to send, but I just want to limit it from going further. Like if something goes off the rails and somebody's just sending like tons of things, you know, I'd want to kind of block that if I can. Like if you want so many requests per connection, that works great. If you want so many connections, say an hour, not so much. Right. Yeah. Yeah, and in my case, yeah, I'm just measuring the amount of messages. Basically, I'm just measuring the amount of messages that come. And I'm doing it every second. So for every connection, I'm measuring the amount of messages that they've sent. And maybe that's not even a good idea. I don't know. We'll find out. I'm measuring the amount of, well, I'm storing the timestamps of every message for a second. So, you know, if you don't send any messages, you know, which is a possibility. Like only when you're in a game and you're moving the mouse is it sending up to 60 messages per second. So then basically I've got this little calculation going where it's saving those times, calculating kind of the deltas between each of those, and then like averaging those all out. And then if our average delta time is going to be some value less than 16.7 milliseconds, I don't know what that number needs to be yet. From my just screwing around with this right now, I was seeing some as low as 13 milliseconds average. Yeah, here we got an average. Here for this brief 1 second, we had an average of 13.7 milliseconds between every mouse update. So that's valid. That's valid data on LAN. So I don't really know what our number needs to be. Maybe it needs to be something really low, like 5 milliseconds. So if we've got an average of 5 milliseconds between requests, between messages in a second, then we've got a problem. Yeah, unfortunately, the only way to find that kind of number is lots of bench testing. Yeah, exactly. And again, this is all on LAN that I've tested, so it's like, what's it going to look like once we take it up to the internet? I don't know. Oops. But yeah, I could go. I'm working on, well, I don't know how much you've seen, if you've been lurking, whatever. I'm working on my game. It's called Populus. I just threw the link down there in the chat. But yeah, I'm here right now on the actual live site right now, but it's a little skill-based game where you just try to see how many bubbles you can pop in 30 seconds. So timer's ticking down over here. Basically, you're trying to pop the bubbles as they appear in this order here. So you're always popping the bubble that's in this position. So to pop the bubble, you hover over that color and press the space bar or left click, and then the bubbles kind of shift up on the side there, and that tells you what bubble to pop next. So you're just kind of trying to go see how many bubbles you can pop in 30 seconds. That's about all there is to it. In this version right now, this exists just strictly in the browser. There's no server right now. Obviously, there's a web server serving out the page, but it's just a static file that doesn't. This is just like the single player version of the game. No actual communication over WebSockets at this point. So like in this case here, you can see pop 27 bubbles in 30 seconds, and we have, got your pops per second and how many mistakes you made. So just kind of some basic little stats. That's pretty much it. 1.331 bubbles a second, first try, fun game. Nice. That's a pretty good starting out pace there. I could go. A lot of people kind of come right out at that one or like a little less. They're somewhere getting 20-something bubbles. So, fun game. Thanks, Akugo. I appreciate it. Oh, yeah, I've got, well, I'm not saying you. I'm not talking to you specifically, Akugo, but anyone out there. I've got a Discord server as well, which people can join. And actually, on the Discord server, there is a little section for, not number one though. Yeah, there's a little section there for, there's a Populus section, and then there's a high scores channel under there. And if you see that, if you go to that high scores channel, you can see Truyaksky's 124 pops in 30 seconds. 124. That's over 4 bubbles a second. It's crazy. He's an animal. So, yeah. It's pretty wild. He's currently the #1 Populus player. Yeah. So anyway. All right. So okay, what we need to do. Well, for one, we've got this set interval. And we need to make sure we clean that up. So we need to assign this to a property here. This dot rate limit interval, I guess. Set that. And then if average delta is, I guess we say if average delta is less than 10. If average delta is less than 10, then we would clear interval. We would clear interval this dot rate limit interval, and then we would this dot ws dot terminate. So this will kill the player and clean up the match and everything. All right, so now let's put this to the test. So we'll do. I don't want to do 10 millis. What did we do before? 8? Or we did or 80. We did 80 updates a second. Hang on, let's see. What is 1 divided by 90? Okay, let's try 90. Let's try 90 mouse updates a second. And we'll see if we can get one player to hit this, and then that will kill that player, basically. And right now, there's no message or something that you've been killed. We'd assume that you wouldn't really want that anyway, because it's kind of a malicious thing. So there's not really a reason to. Let's try leet per second. Isn't that leet? Did I get that right? All right. Oh, wait a minute. All right, let's go to 90 updates a second now. So I'm just doing a hard-coded rate limit right now. So we're going to see what happens. So I'm going to play on this player, and then we should just play, and then hopefully randomly we will go below that 10 milliseconds. Because right now we're at 90 updates a second, which is like 11 milliseconds-ish. So we should hopefully, with some mouse movements, go below that 10 milliseconds. And then the server will kick us out. And then we should see on this player that the opponent quit. So this would be kind of cool. All right, ready? Oh. It already killed us. Okay, hang on. Let's maybe back it off a little bit here. Let's do 80. Let's do 80 so we actually have to try a little harder here. Oh, it already did it again. Okay. 75? I don't know. Maybe if I move the mouse really slowly, then it'll do it. Ah, it did it again. Wait a minute. Hang on a second here. Maybe I just have a bug. Maybe I'm just an idiot. That's usually the case. If average delta is less than 10. Okay, maybe. All right, hang on. Not a number less than 10. If CLG, not a number less than 10. False. All right, so that's not the problem. CLG. Let's CLG average delta and see what it is. Let's see what we got here. Because like instantly, oh, what? 0. Oh, okay. All right, that's not. Okay, that's not helpful. I would have a debug message when it's kicking for now, just to make sure what's causing it, or on top maybe printing what delta is when kicked. Yeah, well, I guess we'll kind of see what ends up happening, what we end up. I mean, once I go live, well, yeah, I might be doing something where I log all the not malicious, but all the things that seem a little funky, like this. Like if a case like this gets hit, I kind of want to log it. All right, so the problem here is, okay, the problem, I should have like a big if to say if, okay, we need to say like if, yeah, we need like an if statement to say if, keep saying that over and over again. If this dot on WS message times is dot length is greater than 1. Now, yeah, we kind of have another tricky case here. I was about to say you should log the values for a while for data to run statistics on. An X bar or an S chart would be great for that kind of estimation. I'm currently in stats class for my PhD, so I'm in the thick of that kind of thing. Oh, nice. Sweet. X bar and S chart. Interesting. I'll have to check those out. You might be a little bit more interested, Akago, than in what I've kind of been doing a little bit of, which is I do actually have a log here for I do have a log here for all the actual mouse data from the client. Or from during a given game, during a given match. So like I have every mouse movement, and I spit this out like into a CSV file. And this comes from the server side. So the server's logging like the timestamp of when we were, you know, so we've got like player 1, mouse movement, the bubble they were trying to pop. So that's kind of the thing there. And then we see the timestamp at which that mouse movement occurred, or the mouse input event occurred, and then like the delta time between that event and the previous event. In the case of the first event, it would be the same because it's this minus 0 then. Anyway, and then I send like the mouse positions, and then the mouse movement deltas and the X. So the mouse X, the mouse Y, the movement X, the movement Y deltas, and then the distance delta. And yeah, basically like I'm logging every little thing because I want to kind of spit all of that into I haven't done really any analysis with it yet, other than kind of like just some debugging kinds of things. But I kind of want to use that to like gain a little more information on like what it's like for a human to play, because that will give me a little insight like on some anti-cheat kinds of things. Kind of the stuff I'm doing right now, you know, where I'm like, if this is above some threshold, then we probably got it. Or this is below some threshold or above some threshold, yeah, we can kick the player, you know. So something like that, where we could say like, because you can see here like all the mouse movements before you have a pop. So then like here was the first bubble pop that was valid. So like this is kind of telling that we've got 31 mouse movements before we had a pop actually. So that's kind of cool. Like we can really look at that kind of data and see like, okay, there's on average, there's this many mouse movements before a pop. And that could, a lot of that could vary depending on the screen size that somebody has, or like the, maybe the potentially depending upon the mouse refresh rate, their update rate of their mouse. Could depend on a whole bunch of things. So, well, actually, since we're doing 60 updates a second to the server, maybe that's not that crazy. But, yeah, so it'll definitely be cool to kind of parse through this data and really dive into it and kind of see everything. But this is actually really nice for helping me track down bugs, which I actually haven't really used that for. Although it did help me track down one bug today when we worked on that. And that was cool that we were able to fix that, because that was kind of a nasty bug. But anyway. Okay, so if this dot on. All right. Okay, so now the problem what we were having was we were immediately connecting. The one player was immediately getting disconnected because we were having an average delta of 0, which is what happens if you just have one mouse event that happens in a span of 1 second. Or if you have one message from a client that happens in a span of 1 second, which AKA would be just clicking the button to find a match. So, okay. All right. Anyway, okay, so now I think we can go back. Now I think we can go back to what we were doing. Okay, so we did that 75. Let's go to 90 again. So we're going 90 hertz, 90 updates a second to the server. And we're going to see if we can break our 10. So that's about 11 milliseconds. So we're going to see if we can break that threshold here just by chance. And it looks like we're not actually doing it there. Okay. All right, so that's nice. I guess we can bring this up to 95 just to get us closer and closer to 10 milliseconds. See what happened. Okay, there we got kicked right away. Nice. Okay. All right, so that was kind of cool. Let's try it again. So we do that. Here we go. And now if I move... Okay, if I move slowly... Because again, the client only sends data if it has it. But now if we do like a nice fast sweep... Okay. There, it killed us. Okay. So there we're dancing really close to that threshold. So that's obviously not what we want in reality. We want like a much lower threshold than what we're kind of sitting at. But I'm on LAN, so maybe once we go live, this could be a lot different. I don't know. But in this case... Wait, what did it say? It says the opponent disconnected, right? Let's make sure that again. The other client's fine. So opponent found. So we're looking at this client here. Opponent, yeah. So it says opponent quit. So basically, or we could say opponent kicked or whatever. But I don't really think we need to say that. And then this guy's kind of screwed. Now, I don't know See, I don't know. It's kind of like we need to... I really don't know what we should do, what action we should take. Maybe what we're doing right now is fine. So we go back to 60. Client update interval. Yeah, like maybe we keep 10 milliseconds. Yeah, but like Akago was saying, we could probably have some sort of benchmarking to really help that. Because like there might just be some weird little case where something happens. And like what if we just had two messages that happen to come, like two messages, and they happen to come within, you know, two messages that happen to come within, I don't know. I feel like I'm just kind of throwing arbitrary numbers out there right now. Because I don't have like the real world, I don't have like the false positive data to know like what could potentially be valid. Because we could just set the threshold like mega low and say like, okay, you really have to be like trying to break the game to ever hit this. So you could like get away with like some slight cheating. Well, it wouldn't even be cheating. At this point, we're not even really talking about cheating. We're just talking about like DDoS kind of stuff. And it wouldn't even really, well, you know, we're talking about just somehow a bunch of data getting sent to the server. All right. All right. So client ping interval. Yeah, we need like, I guess we're going to have maybe under the server only now. We'll have client update delta min threshold. I don't know, threshold. We say 10. Or maybe do we say, I don't know. Maybe we just do like what? Because 1 divided by, yeah, 1 divided by 10.1. Duh. So maybe do we, okay, so what is, or 1 divided by 100. So what is So 0.6, do we just scale? Do we have like a... all right, I'm probably thinking too hard here. So we could have const client updates per second. We do 60 here, I guess. And then maybe do we like... Okay, so then this would become ws.client updates per second. Trash Dev, what are you working on today? Drain a BRB, I appreciate it. Trash Dev, what's going on? Good to see you. We've been kind of working on some things, some client-side validations that we can do on the server to kind of make things a little more, just kind of pick up some obvious sketchy things. Well, some of them are not so obvious. But we've added a couple things where now what else? What did we add earlier? We fixed a bug, and we spent a bunch of time trying to fix that bug, and I don't. That was unexpected, but thankfully we found it. Let me delete this. What did we add? Oh, we did some things where we checked on the server side now if a command from the client. So basically, I'm the unexpected bug. Nice, Weemy. Nice. We added a thing here where if we get more data, so we do all of, we send all the data between the client and the server as an array buffer. And the client has a fixed buffer size, just 12 bytes. So for every piece of data that it sends to the server, it's going to send it in 12 bytes. So basically, we got like a little check in here, like if we receive a message from the client that's more than 12 bytes, or that doesn't equal 12 bytes, doesn't have a size of 12 bytes, then we kill the WebSocket. And these are things that like you'd never, if you were playing the game properly, you'd never hit these, right? This is just kind of like, don't trust the client kind of stuff. And another case would be like, what's the other one we did? Oh, so we've got a switch case for all the possible commands that the client can send. So if we receive something that's not a valid command, then we also just kill the WebSocket. So we just have a default case where if we receive some data from the client and it's not something we were expecting, kill them. Annoying and hard to get rid of. Shh. What are you talking about, Weemy? Yeah, and now we're kind of working on rate limiting, which is maybe not so much of a straightforward kind of thing. Because the browser sends 60 mouse updates a second, and I'm trying to decide like what's a good threshold to say, oh, if we're receiving like 16 or 60 updates a second is 16.66667 milliseconds. So like if we're receiving, so we can multiply that by 1,000 to get our milliseconds. So like if we're getting some sort of number below this as like an average time between messages. So like I'm taking like a second's worth of messages that could come from the client, and then we're like averaging out like the delta times between all those messages. And if that average number is like some number below this, then we know we need to kick the player. But what is that what is that number exactly? Because just in my testing here on LAN, I've seen 13 milliseconds as an average. So like, is 10 milliseconds the answer? The number we need is like 5. Should it be just 1? I don't know. Because it's like I want to, disconnect anyone who's trying something malicious, but like, what's the threshold for actual valid in the wild data that we could see, and what's malicious? I could go with that CSV. Does it have more than 1 round saved, or is it only saving 1 round? I could tell you how to do the statistic analysis on them to get a lower control limit. Right now I'm just blowing it away every game, every match. So like whenever the server writes to that file after a match ends, so it just kills it just blows away the file and recreates it, I think. I think that's, I know it basically gives you a fresh copy of the file after every match right now. And obviously I can change to do whatever the heck I want, but if you're breaking it up into seconds, you could run it on a single round, I suppose. I could tell you how to do this in a second. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what you were saying, Akago, to do the statistics analysis on them to get a lower control limit. Yeah, like, are you saying like we could try to find maybe that value, like that limit value our rate limit value? I mean, because I could say, like, obviously I've obviously have basic statistics knowledge from school, but oh, this is our really low one here when we were doing the, yes, we can try to find that value. Yeah, I mean, I have just 1 round's worth of data, and every round it just resets it in the spreadsheet. Because my initial thought was like I would run a bunch of different games with like different mouse settings and different also people with different skill levels was my other thing. All right, so I'll play a valid match here with just 1 player. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh man. Oh, awful. There we go. All right, so where's our CSV? Our CSV already updated here. Okay. Or VS Code replaced it. Yeah, there we go. We're back to somewhat normal. Yeah, so here I just have the match data from the match I just played. We should, in theory, have no more than 1,800 lines. If I was moving the mouse the entire time, we would have pretty much precisely 1,800 lines. So for all the times that I stopped. Time for bed. All right, Weemy. Have a good night, man. We'll catch you later. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. As always. In a controlled process, a lower control limit is the lower limit of the process before you deem the process no longer in control. Oh. Interesting. That's a cool way to say it. Well, okay, we do have one weird thing about the CSV that doesn't exactly reflect reality right now. Well, okay, so, because here's the interesting thing where, well, okay, so if basically it only sends data, the client only sends data mouse movement data to the server if you move the mouse. So if you hold the mouse still, we can see here we have a 143 millisecond delta. You know, like normally we got 15, 15, 16, 16, 16. I've changed my delta back to 60 mouse updates a second, so we're getting close to that. You know, we're in that ballpark of 16.7 milliseconds. So we're seeing all these 15, 15, 15, 16, 16, 16, 16, 15, blah, blah, blah. Then 143. Right, so for that brief, like, tenth of a second, I didn't move the mouse. And then, so that when this message finally fired, you know, 143 milliseconds had passed since the last message. So basically, we've got 1254 minus 1110 there. And then, you know, we got 16, 16, 16. And like in the beginning, we've got an 839 because like the game started and I almost didn't move the mouse for a whole second. But, you know, for the most part, if I'm like moving the mouse the entire time, there's a 47 there. So we missed a couple frames, like 2 frames, 3 frames before whatever that number would be. There's 96. So here's a 0. So the reason for this is the way I'm just logging it. Where this click really is kind of the same, should really have the same timestamp as this mouse movement. That's kind of the, in fact, wait a minute. Yeah, because we're doing, yes, we're doing our high res timestamps. Somewhere. Where's the other one? All right, there's one there. That's the start time of the match. There's another one. That's the cursor click. That's a date dot now. And that's the movement now. Okay, right. So that's, yeah, so there's a little bit of funkiness with that. But from between, yeah, so that was kind of interesting. Like, there's kind of a little bit of a slowdown maybe there, where we slowed down to make the click, and then kept going, and then sped back up again. So it's like a few frames where we didn't actually have any mouse movements, a few frames where we didn't have any mouse movements, and then so on. 16, 15, there we didn't. They're kind of the same thing. It's kind of a trend right before a mouse click. Like the mouse as it's slowing, I feel like there's a brief point in time where I'm like not. It's like a little bit of a delay, which is kind of an interesting piece of data from like a human standpoint. Yeah, it happens like every time. Like right before a click, we got like this couple frames of like delay from the last movement to the click. Yeah, that's interesting. It's cool to see that. There you go. There's only like 4 frames there. Where's the next click? That was a fast one there. That one we didn't break. There was a little bit of a longer one. Anyway. Yes, this data is very interesting to look at, indeed. All right. But Akago, yeah, if you've got some like interesting things I could try. I mean, I'm not, well, I don't know. At this point though, it could be the numbers could be totally different. I mean, it would be cool to like dial something in right now, but at the same time, the numbers could be totally different, you know, on when this is live on a server. So I don't know. I mean, the only thing I can do is like when I do some testing, when I first go live with this before it's like live, but when it's up in the cloud, I can maybe just have the CSV. I can have the version running with the CSV and generate some data for me to see on the server, and then kind of see what happens. See if these numbers kind of come out similarly. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that would make it a little more complicated. Since the sample size would vary, but to explain the process, you group the data into subgroups, then take the average of each group, then you take the average of those average. That's X bar. Okay. So you're just averaging of averaging of averaging kind of thing. And what is a group? Is a group just like a random sample selection kind of thing? Then you get the standard deviation of each group and take the average of the standard deviations. That's S bar. Okay. And you find the standard error using the S bar and the number of samples per group. That's interesting. I mean, I definitely would like to look into, yeah, the X bar and the S bar, like you were saying. And then, yeah, kind of look at that. Yeah, it'd be cool to just like play like 10 games and see what the numbers come out as. After that, you subtract. You find standard error using the S bar, and the number of samples per group. Okay, after that, you subtract and add 3 times the standard error from the X bar to get the upper and lower control limits. A group is a subset of data. So let's say, for example, you take 15 samples over 40 days. Your subgroup would be 15 samples per day. Gotcha. Okay. Could a group just be one match? I mean, we just make one match. Or is that not, or would you want, because in that case, I'm just looking at, well, I guess you would want, technically you would need more because you would want to have, you'd want to have a look across a bunch of different players that maybe because of their region, based upon their physical location, might have different numbers, I guess, just because of distance and everything and network, whatever. It's very interesting. But yeah, I would like to, yeah, one match would make a good subset. Okay. Yeah, because I was thinking at least you could do that with like, I mean, I could do that with just myself with like play 10 matches and then just crunch those numbers. Yeah, no, it's cool stuff though. I'm glad you let me know about S bar and X bar. The only issue is because the way you're recording the data, the sample sizes may not be the same, so perhaps average the different sample sizes. Well, yeah, I mean, I could just actually modify this to make it. I could fix this little quirk that I was describing before, where it's like there's like this really short thing. But I could just try like some games where I just play consistently that whole time and then kind of see what happens. I don't know. Skidity. How was I saying it before? What's going on, Skiddity 93. That's what I was saying before, right? Skiddity? I don't know where the accent's supposed to be, on which eye. What's going on, Skiddity? How was you went for some food, right? Welcome back. We're still here. Actually, I think the stream crashed kind of at one point. It came back, but it's the first time that's ever happened to me, so I didn't know what to happen. We dropped a bunch of frames, and then Streamlabs went like flickered on me and like came back. It looked like it kind of quit itself and restarted almost. Like it happened really quickly. Not that has anything to do with anything, but it seemed to come back. The stream came back, but then we were like dropping a bunch of frames, so I went offline, shut down Streamlabs, brought it back, so we just had like a little bit of downtime from the stream. So I don't know how long Twitch has been saying we've been streaming, but In theory, we've been going 6.5 hours now. I could go, yeah, I mean, there's other ways you could probably find the lower limit you need, but this is just the best way I know, or this is just the way I know best right now. No, it's very cool. I appreciate you letting me know. Because, yeah, I mean, I really wanted to kind of dig into this data at some point. Like, play a bunch of games, just gather a bunch of data, and, like, try to figure out what's the valuable things are, you know. Valuable metrics are, like, especially for kind of coming up with, like, bot kind of things, or bot, you know, trying cheat prevention bot kinds of things. Yeah, food was great. Ready to get back to work. Nice. Awesome. All right. All right. Well, maybe we should just be safe for right now and just use a very low number. Like maybe 10 milliseconds is too high. Where did we, client update delta min. I don't know if I should like derive that from this client updates per second. Or maybe it should be, well, maybe it should just be like offset of that. Maybe it should be like, client update interval. Client, yeah, like maybe it could be the Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the... Skididdy, if you're still hanging out, what's work? You developer? Yeah, like do we maybe do, okay, so like we got 60 updates per second. Do we do, maybe we just calculate that number and then do minus like 10, take 10 milliseconds off of that number? Maybe that's what we should do. Maybe. Client update interval. Well, 162 updates on this Windows 7 VM. Probably going to be lurking because the stream is going to get skippy because of the download. Nice. Hey, no worries, Akago. I appreciate you hanging out for sure. You taught me about some things I've never heard of, so I definitely want to look into. That sound interesting. All right. I really don't know. I really don't know what I want this number to actually be. Like maybe we do client update, maybe we just take client update interval. We do client update interval. We calculate whatever that is, 60. And then we do ws.client update interval. And then we just do client update interval minus 10 maybe. So we're going to shave 10 milliseconds off of 16.7 milliseconds. You know what? No. I'm just going to do a hard-coded thing for right now. Yeah, we're just going to go with a hard-coded thing for right now. So 10. Message time deltas are less than. Okay. Client gets kicked. Oh, wait. Client gets kicked if message time deltas. Time between message. Oh, I'll just say time between messages. That's more clear. Time between messages is less than this number. Client gets kicked. Time between. Okay, that's a nice little flag for me there. I mean, I got some things from this. Whoa, I got something from this too. My brain was kind of, why would I need stats for computing? Now I have a practical example as how to use them with programming. Nice. I like that, Akago. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's tons of things. I mean, some stuff I've done for work is a lot of like data. I mean, I don't really know anything about data science, but I mean, I've done certain data sciencey kinds of things for my job, and definitely having a knowledge of statistics, which I don't really have, but like there's definitely tons of applications for using more statistical things with computing and that sort of thing. I mean, just being like a normal kind of programmer building business applications, you know, you can really, you know, just trying to generate some reports for numbers on things and whatever. And a lot of that stuff kind of ends up being a little, well, actually this stuff kind of ends up being kind of a little bit cooler because it's kind of like, we get to take it as far as we want. You know, we can say, let's gather a bunch of data and then let's see what we get. And then maybe we build something new because of that data, you know? So that's, I don't know, this stuff's kind of cool. What we're doing specifically, I guess. What's your job, if you don't mind me asking? I teach this stuff for a living. Oh, nice. I'm a web developer. So, I'm kind of an IT guy all around. So I do a little bit of web development and a little bit of some other stuff. Kind of at a small, mid-sized business company. So, but I do a lot. Yeah, I do a lot of like JavaScript web apps, tools, for the company and everything. So it could be a whole mess of different things I end up developing. And I'm doing that part-time now, actually. I'm streaming part-time right now. So that's kind of my trying to see what I can do with game development. And yeah, so. All right. All right. Well, we're like I said, we're gonna just go with a hard-coded number. Well, not hard-coded, but it's not going to be this number this threshold number for kicking people is not going to be derived from the update rate, the client update rate. Because I don't really know if that really makes sense to do. Maybe we make this like half. Maybe instead of 10 milliseconds, let's make it 8, like 8 milliseconds, just to be safe. Okay. Client update delta min. Gotcha. Sweet. All right. So again, let's simulate this because it was kind of cool. If we make our, oh, wait a minute. We need to actually use this value. So let's go back to the server here. Matt, no. Yeah. No, maybe is this it? Nope, that's not it. Player, there we go. All right. Okay, so if average, okay, it's less than 10. So this needs to be config dot, okay, beautiful. Config dot ws dot client client update delta min, client update delta min. Yes, so that is our 8 milliseconds. So we're gonna actually, yeah, let's keep printing that number there. And what is our, okay, so we're at 60. So let's make this 100 and just see what happens. All right, so we changed our client update rate to 100 times a second. So we're sending 100 mouse updates a second to the server, just for checking. And we're gonna see if our average, if the time, so in other words, we're gonna have 10 milliseconds between every message that we're sending to the server. Because that's 1 divided by 100. This is 0.01 second, so times 1,000 gives us 10 milliseconds. Okay, so that number should be about 10 milliseconds, but if we get an average time between for 1 second, if we have an average time of less than 8 milliseconds between our messages over 1 second, we grab a sample of messages spanning back one whole second, and if the average delta time between all those messages ends up averaging out to less than 8 milliseconds, then we're going to kill that client because maybe something malicious is going on. So let's see if we get it to work here. So our client, so we're going to do a competitive game here. And I'm just going to move the mouse around. And then if we hit that rate, I don't know if we will. Yeah, I really don't know if we will. Let's do this again. Let's go back to, let's just see what we're getting. We're a player. This is where we want to be. Okay, so we're going to move this console log up. So each player is going to be logging their, isn't it? if it's greater than 0. Okay, brilliant. All right. So down here in the server, we could, oh. Whoa, wait a minute. Okay, that's a problem. All right, so we already have a problem here with this method. Because here we have a time, so we got kicked. Or wait, this player got kicked. Yeah, this player got kicked just from... Okay. All right, this is not looking good. Okay, so if we do something really kind of crazy like this, like let's just grace the corner of the screen here. Oh! Yeah, we killed him there. Okay. All right, so I don't know how this is going to work. I really don't know how this will work. So we killed him. So just doing something like that kills it. Okay, actually, there might be like another dimension we could add to this to make it a little more. So maybe it's kind of implied that if somebody was trying to break the game or something, or kind of maliciously sending messages, whoops, they'd be sending more than the update rate. Right? So we could maybe just check if the average delta is maybe greater. Well, maybe we could do something like this. We could just say if, because that's kind of our concern. Maybe we could just say if somebody's doing something malicious, right? So we could say if the amount of messages that we received in 1 second is greater than 60. So only then, if it's greater than 60, are we concerned with actually doing something. That might be the thing to do. So then if we know we've got more messages, more than 60 messages, we just check that time, because, you know, maybe the number is you know what? Maybe that's the way to do it. Maybe we don't calculate the delta time and all that dumb stuff. Maybe we just say, I don't know. Actually, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is for that. Let's do config.ws.client update delta min. No, client update rate. Right? I don't know if that's the right thing. Oops, dot client update interval. That's what it's called. Master Darkweaver is now following. Master Darkweaver, thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it. I really do. Thank you. Thank you. Well, I don't know if Master Darkweaver's been lurking for a while or what, but I'll give everybody a little spin, a little explanation of the game here. Those of you that have been lurking for a while, you've heard me give this explanation about 1 million times, but that's okay. yeah, so working on my game here. It's called Populus. You can actually play it right now. Throw it down there in the chat. Populus.gg. That's Populus.gg. Once again, that's Populus.gg. I just like spelling it because it's like Populus and then just an S on the end. Anyway, Icy Kid's got me covered with the perfect spelling there. Thanks, Icy Kid. You're still hanging out, Icy Kid? I appreciate that. Really do. Yeah, so anyway, Populus.gg. I got the live site right here. You can click play. Basically, the goal of the game is pop as many bubbles as you can in 30 seconds. So you got the 30-second timer right here. You got the bubbles here that you're trying to pop. And then here is the bubble you're always trying to pop the bubble that's in this position. You can kind of see the bubbles that are coming up next. So if we pop pink, now we got to pop brown. So to pop each bubble, you hover over it with your mouse, and then you left click or you press spacebar. I prefer the spacebar. Just feels better. And then you're just trying to go see how many bubbles you can pop in 30 seconds. Actually, I kind of want to try to go for a world record right now. Let's see about going for a world record. We got 21 bubbles popped, 30 seconds, 0.7. You see some stats at the end here. 2 mistakes. I made a couple mistakes. Happy to help. Yeah, I'm lurking. Your voice is relaxing, so just listening. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Icy Kid. I appreciate that. You're too kind. Stroking my ego. Man, making me feel good about myself or something. All right. No, but seriously, thanks, Icy Kid. That means a lot. I appreciate it. I appreciate you hanging out. All right, so I just feel like doing a kind of a fast run here right now. So I'm gonna try it. Just take a little break from thinking about rate limiting and junk like that. All right, let's see how fast we can go here. Don't be intimidated by my Populus popping skills. I am the #2 Populus player in the world right now. That I know of. I say that maybe that comes off kind of narcissistic, but I say that kind of being funny because I'm the top 2 player of 3 Populus players out there. Oh, come on. No. Okay, that was awful. I gotta try again. 69. What? All right. Retry. Here we go. I'm not going to talk this time. I'm not going to talk at all. Oh. Holy cow. Oh! Sorry. Sorry if that was loud in the mic. Hopefully the compressor kicked in. Here we go. Oh, come on. Come on. All right, so the current version has this dumb checkpoint system that I've gotten oh, okay. Oh, that's all right, we got to do one more. Just one more. 3, 2, 1. All right, this is not a good start. Kind of slow. Oh, come on, come on, come on. Oh, come on. Oh, boy. Come on. Okay. 93. I was hoping for like 100. All right. Anyway. He's going the speed of light. Not quite. I'm not going quite the speed of light. Truyaksky goes the speed of light. He's got 124 pops. 124 pops in 30 seconds. That's crazy. It's over 4 pops a second. I'm throwing the Discord down in the chat there. You can see it. You can see it right now. There's a Populus section and there's a high score section. And his top video, he's got a video of it, of him playing. It's crazy. All right. Anyway. All right, hang on, one more game. Sorry, it's just kind of I got to get at least 100 maybe. Oh, come on. So far, I don't think I'm on 100 pace here. Come on. No, we just missed that one by a hair. I think it was a bug. $95. All right, one more, just one more. Oh, come on. That was such a punishing mistake there. See, I got rid of that. I got rid of the, like, right now on populus.gg, there's this checkpoint system, so you have to pop 4 bubbles before you go to the next checkpoint. If you make a mistake, you go back to the beginning of the checkpoint, so that means you could potentially have to repop 4 bubbles over again if you made a mistake, or 3 bubbles, I guess. 79, all right, that was awful. One more. I'm not going to talk this time. Oh, come on. All right. Hard reset there. One more. Oh, come on. No. Something happened there. Something weird happened there. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. 95. All right, I'm done. Master Darkweaver Dev is addicted to his own game, never codes again. Yeah, you got it. No, actually, well, I don't know. It is kind of a fun game. I will say that. It is kind of fun. And when you get to a point where you want to like try to improve your score just a little bit, that's kind of fun. It gets to be a little bit of fun, but it's also just a stupid little game, and nobody should play it or care about it at all. I can see how this game could become super addicting. Haha. Thanks, Master Darkweaver. I appreciate that. Appreciate the kind comments. Yeah, and thanks again for the follow, Master Darkweaver. I gotta say that out. I gotta say that name out all the whole way every time. Master Darkweaver. But yeah, I mean, with the multiplayer, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with multiplayer and everything. That's what I'm working on right now. For those of you who are new, we're working on multiplayer. And wait, did I fix it so it's not going to break right now? Let's just double check quick. Uh-oh, did my mouse just die? Yeah, it did. There we go. All right. All right. What did we set for these numbers here? Okay, 8. All right, we set this back to 60. There we go. Oh no, we were in the middle of something. That's right. I got to get back to what we were doing. Yeah, so we got multiplayer going now, and we'll see how much fun it is. We'll see how much fun people have playing multiplayer, and there's some other changes now too compared to the live version right now. The colors, you might notice the colors are slightly different now. The colors are a little more spread out. Basically, what I did for like the color generation of the bubbles is kind of like loop along the color wheel. But basically, they're like more spread out now, like compared to. Like if you're, now I'm on populus.gg. If you look, I'm playing the live version right now. The colors are pretty evenly spaced across, well, in both cases, they're evenly spaced across the color wheel, but the difference between those colors is more similar. Like we've got a few shades of green right here. That wouldn't happen right now on the, whoops. That wouldn't happen right now on my development version. You'd end up with quite a much more broad spectrum of colors, if that makes sense. Anyway, Master Darkweaver, are you considering making this a phone-based game? I think that would, this would do well, I think. I haven't, I mean, you could technically play it on mobile right now. It's a little, to the best, I had a friend of mine try it on Safari, and it didn't on iOS, Safari, and as far as I know, Safari doesn't really handle everything correctly, but Basically, I've done nothing as far as actually supporting mobile, but I mean, you could play. I mean, it plays right now on mobile. I'm on Populus.gg right now, actually, the live one. And then, you see bubbles. But basically, when you pop bubbles, it's like a little delayed, at least on, and it's like very small, whatever. So obviously not super. I mean, maybe if you played it on a tablet, it might be a little more interesting. Whoops. Or if you double tap like too fast, like zooms in or whatever. So nothing. I haven't done a thing. It just works because of modern browsers. Modern mobile browsers just try to support as much as they can with, normal web pages and everything. But like I'm not using the browser on touch events for everything. It's just all mouse clicks. So that's just the mobile Chrome taking a tap and converting it to a touch event, or a click event, I should say. And like portrait mode and everything doesn't really work. Like stuff scales, the screen and everything rescales. Oh, not on Populus.gg, but on my development version right now, the stat screen scales. And, like the main menu scales, but like if you go to portrait mode, obviously it doesn't account for that. So, I mean, you could play the game for the more or less portrait mode because it kind of, oh, never mind, actually. Yeah. So maybe there's something we could do to kind of make it, make the menu things flip around or something for portrait, or change. I don't know. We need to change a few things, but yeah. All right. So anyway, we were in the middle of looking at, what were we in the middle of? We did. Okay. Yeah. So client update delta min 8 milliseconds. Yeah. So I kind of like this idea here. All right. So what we're doing now is, if we're checking now the amount of messages that we've gotten in a 1 second window for each player, and then we're checking this every second. So we're going to check like the last second's worth of messages every second. And then if the amount of those messages is greater than the client update interval, then we're going to do a little average thing and check kind of, you know what, maybe that might just be kind of stupid. I don't know though. I really don't know. Maybe we're just going to leave it like this and see what happens. Well, so now basically, if you start sending more updates, okay, actually it won't happen now, but if I were to make this 100, where is it? Client update rate, where is it? Update delta min 8. Okay, so let's change this to 100, and let's just try playing and seeing if we can break it. All right, so now ooh, there we went, 9. All right, let's go down. Let's make this 10. All right, so now if, yeah, this should, there we go. Okay, so we broke the threshold there, And I did that just by kind of changing the numbers, but basically it kind of detected this player as sending too many updates per second. We can do it. Whoops, I need to do this, then do this. And then this player got the opponent quit message. It's basically what happened. And it'll happen again. There it happened again. So like at some point, just moving the mouse around, it tripped that threshold, and then it kicked this. It closed the WebSocket connection for this client. But I'm not sure if that's really the right thing to do yet at this point. Like, do we really want to do that? I don't know. I really don't know if that's the answer. I wish I did. I wish I knew. Yeah, well, I'm going to go back to this. I'm going to go back to this number here where we're going to say 8. 8 milliseconds is kind of that average time, and we're going to go back to our 60 mouse updates a second. Great. I like it. I like it. All right. One thing I want to look at really quick, just while I'm thinking of it, is I would like to see, we'd like to measure. Yeah, let's do this bytes up thing. Okay. So what we're doing here is we're just going to measure the amount of bytes that we're sending. So if we do this, we do this. So I just want to like play a normal game, normal competitive game here, just see how many bytes we've sent in one whole game. Whoops. Whoa. Whoa, there we got 96. All right. So we sent 20,496 bytes. All right, so the number, the absolute max would be 30 seconds. All right, what do we do? We got 12 bytes, I think, times 60. So that's how many bytes a second times 30. All right, so 21,600 is the absolute, it is technically the maximum that would be sent. So because obviously we only send mouse updates when the cursor moves, when you move the mouse. So that's why there's a few frames where we kind of, maybe the mouse halted for a little bit. So obviously we're at 496. So that sounds about right for how many, for how I was playing. But if you just like sat there and like moved the mouse like this, over that 30-second match, you'd be a lot less than that. So 21,600. So let's multiply that by 2. So that would be 2 players. 43,200. Oh, I have to do that, huh? It's 43,200, and then let's divide that by 1 billion, right? Actually, I forget. Let's see here. Okay. $1 trillion divided by. Oops. Okay. I don't know how to paste. Do I do this and then control? There we go. Sick. 23 million. I like it. All right, that should be about how many matches we can play in a month. That's actually pretty awesome. All right, that's cool. I like it. All right, so I like that, actually. That's actually really nice. All right, so what do we do next? I think what we have is kind of good enough for right now, I feel like. Well, actually, you know what? How long have we been going now? It's 5:09 p.m. here, Central Standard Time. I like to throw in Central Standard Time whenever I refer to times, my local time, as not to confuse anyone. I think we might end the stream right now, because I'm trying to think of what else we should do, but I feel like we've got done everything we need to do for right. As far as our one task for the day, which was, well, not necessarily for the day, but this is all we got done. Client validation, rate limiting on the server. So we achieved what we wanted to set out to do, I guess. So yeah, what did we do today? Well, we'll just do a quick little recap, and then I think we're gonna shut the stream down. Yeah, because we've been going about 7 hours. Am I right? Yeah, over 7 hours now. All right, so, and I've got some other things we might take care of off stream. But yeah, what did we get done today? Well, it's a good question. We started adding some basic checks. Actually, let me go in and comment out this thing that I did quickly while I'm thinking of it. Oh, application. Okay, so we've got this little bytes up thing. And we need to do, where is it? Bytes up, right here. Okay. So, well, that's one of the first things we did. We added a little check where basically we know we get a fixed amount of data. So we're using WebSockets for sending data between the client and the server. And the Populus server is really a WebSocket server. That's kind of what it's using. We're not doing any HTTP or anything like that. Obviously, there's a web server serving static page to the clients, to the browsers, but then you're communicating with a server, a Node.js server with WebSockets. So the client basically has a 12-byte buffer that it sent every time it sends a message to the server. It sends that 12-byte buffer, so it's always sending 12 bytes to the server. And really, the first 4 bytes specify the type of message it is, and then the vast majority of the time, since it's either a mouse movement or whatever, the next 4 bytes specify the X position of the mouse cursor, and then the last 4 bytes of our 12-byte message specify the Y position. We do 32-bit floating point numbers, so 32 bits, 4 bytes. That's how we get that number. So first 4 bytes just specify the command itself, which there's not a lot of commands that the client can send to the server. Basically, it's got, it can say, and we've got a switch case basically that we parse those different messages. But basically, we know that we're always going to have a 12-byte buffer from the client. So if we get a buffer that's a different size, then we terminate that WebSocket connection, because that's not right. We should never have a message. So we can assume something kind of funky is going on with that browser, and we can just say, and I don't mean by that browser, I mean with the person using it, right? So somebody's trying to mess around with something if we get something that's more than 12 bytes. So the other thing is since we also have a fixed number of commands, we're basically doing kind of like a little enumeration kind of thing. Like JavaScript doesn't have any enumerations, but we're doing something like that, where we've got a client commands object here that has find match being integer 1, cancel match find 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. So basically those become, those are integers, and those are the command. The number is just a single integer command that goes into those 4 bytes. So it's a 32-bit integer. And that sounds overkill, like why couldn't we just use 1 byte? Because obviously we only have 5 commands. We could get away with a 1 byte and having 255 values. Well, the reason with that is JavaScript and alignment and stuff like that. Kind of annoying, but what can you do? So basically we can basically say if we get a number that's not one of these, then we can say something funky's going on, and we can kill that WebSocket connection with the client as well from the server side. So basically we added that as well, where we have our switch case where we rip off that first 4 bytes out of the message buffer from the client, and we check if it's a find match, if it's a cancel match find, if it's a quit match, if it's a cursor down, if it's a cursor moved. And if it's none of those things, then we just terminate the WebSocket connection, because somebody's doing something that they shouldn't be doing probably at that point. Because in the state of the normal game, it's always going to be sending one of those valid commands, nothing else. And then we added those 2 things, and then we started to go on to our rate limiting thing, and then I realized there was a little bit of a bug, and we spent some good time trying to track down a bug that was actually pretty bad that it was possible. And basically what it was letting us do with a competitive match is, what was happening was you could start a competitive game, and you could pop a bubble, and then you could go out and click outside of the boundary, and it would trigger a bubble pop, because basically we had some bad state stuff that wasn't getting reset. Julia Jiao Mao. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but Julia, thank you very much for the follow. I really appreciate that. I really do. Thank you. I'm humbled by your follow. Man, you guys are crazy. We got like 13 follows today. That's off the charts, quite honestly. That's nuts. So yeah, we had basically an issue where if we popped a bubble, then went out of bounds, the bubble was still flagged as like being traversed by the mouse cursor, and that wasn't getting reset. So if you went out of bounds and clicked, it was triggering a click event, and just all those if statements lined up with the bubble state, and it would trigger that as a valid bubble pop. So that was a problem, because then the client and the server were then out of sync, because the client didn't think that was valid. Just the server thought it was valid. So that's a scary bug, and I'm kind of nervous if we're going to have some issues like that, but once we go live. But I mean, if we do, it's not a big deal. We're going to fix them, but yeah. So we fixed a pretty nasty little bug, and that felt good, but it took us a while. And then finally, the last thing we implemented just now was our kind of rate limiting thing, which I'm still kind of on the fence about how I really want it to happen. I mean, at this point, because we don't know what like the valid false positive data will be for, we're forcing 60 mouse updates a second. So that would be basically, you shouldn't be getting more than that. But if there are more than that, we're kind of doing a little bit of checking to see like how much more. And then if there's a lot more, we're killing the connection. But we don't really know. Once this server's up in the cloud, or once the Populus WebSocket server is up in the cloud, and we really test some of this stuff out, we'll see what we end up with, what kind of real data we end up with. But the way I have it for right now, it should reset a WebSocket connection if we've got something that's really malicious, like somebody sending a bunch of data all at once. Then that'll kill that WebSocket. But otherwise, I don't know. I'm a little worried we might start terminating some valid stuff. So that's, yeah, we'll see what happens. But we'll do some testing and everything, obviously, before. I mean, and this going live, that is kind of the testing, So that is part of testing the app itself. So anyway, I think that's pretty much it. So I think we're going to be going offline right now, but just want to let everyone know I stream 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, Mondays and Tuesdays. We haven't missed one since we started streaming, I'm pretty sure, since like the end of August. So that's awesome. Because it just so happened Christmas and New Year's, those all ended on Friday, and that kind of made it nice. I had this nice little gap of Mondays and Tuesdays being open, and yeah, I don't think we've missed a stream that the whole time. So yeah, so Mondays and Tuesdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. I usually stream for 6.5, 7, 8 hours. I think we did. At this point, we're closing in on 7.5 hours, maybe. I don't have the exact number now because we had to kill the stream in the middle because Streamlabs OBS decided to like restart itself, kind of something. And that seemed to work, but then we started dropping a bunch of frames. So I killed Streamlabs and restarted the stream. So yeah, that's kind of what the deal was with that. Hopefully that doesn't happen anymore. That's the first time I've ever had any actual stream issues. So far, I've feel blessed to not have any sort of drop frames or anything that I know of. Never had what happened before earlier happened, where OBS seemed to like close and restart itself, kind of. So yeah, that was kind of weird. But yeah, thanks everyone for all the follows and everything. That was kind of crazy. I think we had 13 something follows now today, so awesome. And yeah, and Skiddity. What was I saying? Skiddy before? Skiddity. Thanks for the sub. Not sure if you're still around, but thanks for the sub and the gifted sub to Retro MMO. I really appreciate that. That's awesome. Yeah, you guys are awesome. Crazy community. I can't believe we're over. We were at 197 follows today, and now we're at 211 right now. So that's 14. It's 14 follows today. So awesome. Yeah, I can't believe how great the community is. You guys are nuts. All right. Well, we got a few people here, so I guess we'll probably drop in and see about rating somebody here. Let's see if anybody's online who... Whoa, Retro MMO is back online. I guess we can... we'll repay the favor there. We'll just spit back over to Retro MMO. Wow. All right, well, yeah, whoa. How do we rate again? I always forget. Okay, I found it. All right, so we are gonna zip on over to Retro MMO. Whoops. All right, so thank you, everyone. Again, I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. I got to wait a few seconds, I guess, for this raid to be ready. So there it goes. All right. We're heading over to Retro MMO now, so catch you guys later. Thanks again. Adios.